Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy is a tragic and thought-provoking novel that delves into the complexities of human aspiration, love, societal expectations, and the crushing weight of fate. Written in 1895, this novel remains one of Hardy's most controversial works, often provoking strong reactions due to its critique of the institution of marriage, class barriers, and religious hypocrisy in Victorian England.
Jude the Obscure plot summary.
The novel revolves around Jude Foley, a young man from a rural working-class background in the fictional village of Marygreen. Jude has grand ambitions to become a scholar at the prestigious University of Christminster, a fictionalized Oxford. However, his dreams are repeatedly thwarted by his circumstances, including his lack of formal education and the rigid class system that prevents upward mobility. Jude's romantic relationships also play a central role in his tragic arc. Early in the novel, he is tricked into marriage by Arabella Dawn, a coarse and unrefined woman who leaves him shortly after. Jude later falls in love with his cousin, Sue Bridehead, an intellectual and free-spirited woman. Their relationship is unconventional for the time, as Sue rejects the institution of marriage, believing it to be a social trap. Despite their deep emotional bond, Jude and Sue's decision to live together without marrying leads to their alienation from society. Their life together is fraught with hardship, social condemnation, and tragedy, culminating in the shocking death of Jude's children, an event that highlights Hardy's bleak view of fate. The novel's climactic turn, the death of their eldest child, known as Little Father Time, is one of the most harrowing moments in literature, symbolizing the collapse of hope and the inevitability of despair. Jude's own death at the end of the novel solidifies Hardy's overarching theme: society's oppressive forces destroy individual dreams and happiness. One of the dominant themes in Jude the Obscure is class struggle and social mobility. Jude's aspiration to rise above his humble origins is a direct critique of the rigid class structure of Victorian society. Despite his intellectual potential, Jude is unable to transcend his social station due to the systemic barriers that favor the elite and educated classes. The novel also takes a critical stance on the institution of marriage, which Hardy presents as an oppressive force, especially for women. Both Jude and Sue suffer under the constraints of traditional relationships. Sue's refusal to marry Jude, despite their mutual love, reflects her desire for personal freedom, yet it also results in her marginalization. The portrayal of marriage as a destructive force was radical for its time, leading to widespread condemnation of the novel. Religion is another significant theme, with Hardy scrutinizing the hypocrisy of organized religion. Jude's early desire to become a scholar is closely tied to his idealized vision of Christminster as a center of religious and intellectual life. However, he becomes disillusioned when he realizes that the institution of the church is more concerned with maintaining power than with spiritual or moral integrity. Hardy's characters in Jude the Obscure are intricately drawn, deeply flawed, and profoundly human. Jude Foley is a tragic figure whose dreams of intellectual achievement and personal happiness are systematically destroyed by the social and moral conventions of the time. His innocence and idealism make his eventual downfall all the more heartbreaking.
Sue Bridehead.
Sue Bridehead is a complex and modern character, especially for a Victorian novel. She embodies progressive ideas about women's rights and personal autonomy, but is also deeply conflicted, torn between her intellectual ideals and emotional desires. Sue's rejection of marriage and traditional domesticity makes her a revolutionary character, though her eventual submission to societal norms in the end, driven by guilt and societal pressure, highlights the overwhelming power of social conformity. Arabella Dawn, in contrast, represents the more base and manipulative aspects of human nature. She is practical, cunning, and opportunistic, embodying the forces that keep Jude trapped in his social class. Hardy's use of symbolism is rich throughout the novel. The city of Christminster represents Jude's unattainable dreams and the illusion of intellectual and spiritual fulfillment. It symbolizes both the allure of knowledge and the cold indifference of institutions to those on the fringes of society. The character of Little Father Time symbolizes despair and the futility of life. His tragic act of murdering his siblings and then committing suicide represents Hardy's bleak worldview that life is often unbearable, especially for the most vulnerable. Hardy's prose is dense and descriptive, filled with vivid imagery that often reflects the inner turmoil of his characters. His writing is known for its melancholic tone and philosophical depth, particularly his exploration of determinism and pessimism. The dialogue between Jude and Sue, especially on topics like marriage, education, and freedom, is intellectual and layered with meaning, making the novel a rich text for analysis. Jude the Obscure was met with outrage upon its publication, with some critics denouncing it as immoral and decadent due to its frank discussion of sexuality, marriage, and religious doubt. Hardy was so disheartened by the public's reaction that he never wrote another novel, turning instead to poetry. However, over time, the novel has been reevaluated as a masterpiece of social criticism and psychological depth. Today, it is seen as a profound critique of Victorian moral hypocrisy, class inequality, and the limitations placed on personal freedom. Its exploration of themes like free will versus fate, the crushing weight of societal expectations, and the conflict between desire and duty make it a timeless and universally relevant work. Jude the Obscure is a deeply moving and tragic exploration of the human condition. Hardy's powerful critique of societal norms and the limitations imposed on individuals by class, religion, and marriage make it a novel that still resonates with contemporary readers. Jude's tragic journey, from hopeful youth to despairing outcast, serves as a powerful reminder of the ways in which society can destroy those who dare to dream beyond their station. It is a novel rich with symbolism, thematic complexity, and unforgettable characters, making it one of Hardy's most enduring works.